edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I am Dustin, and I am here today with Gary Castelle, who is the president of Magnum Plastics Incorporated. And you are based in New York, is that correct?
In Greenwood Lake, New York.
In Greenwood
yes.
Lake. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
I wanted to have you on the show today because you are an inventor and you've invented quite a few things. But and there's one thing in particular that you've invented that we want to talk about. But I wanted to get an idea of your background. Have you always been an inventor? Why are you in this industry?
Everything in my life has been a complete accident. I went to Drew University here in Madison with a degree in biology. I then got a job in a plastics factory.
Okay.
And loading boxes because I just needed a job. The head engineer for the plastic company, and I were speaking one day during lunch, and he said, "Hey, you'd be a good engineer." And I was like, "Yeah, it's better than loading boxes." So he took me under his wing and started teaching me, kind of what he did, and then actually he convinced the company to pay for me to take a couple of classes at NJIT.
Oh, okay.
In mechanical drawing. This is before computers. I had a T-square and a compass.
Wow,
and,
okay, yes.
You actually had to be able to draw things. Now with that job, people came to you, or to me, and said, "Here, I need this." So I started out making things for other people.
So this is within the company that
Yes.
people come, or is this?
No, yes,
from
within a company, a
from
client would
outside?
call up, I was a plastics company, and
Okay.
a client would call up and say, "I need something that holds curtains together," or "I need something," they'd come to me with a product, with what they needed to do, and then, what do you have in mind? And you make a couple of, you could clip it like this, you could do it like that. And, sometimes you get the job, sometimes you didn't.
Right.
It was
So you basically produced a prototype or just the idea?
No, prototype and finished product, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
that was really my job, was to bring in business for the factory to make things.
Oh, I see. Okay.
To try to come up with
Okay.
designs to woo a customer. I like his design. Everyone goes to 3 or 4 different companies. And say I need something that holds my curtains together.
Right.
And then the one who comes up with usually the least expensive clever idea, not always the least expensive clever idea, but usually the least expensive clever idea gets the job done.
Got it.
So that's what I did for many years. And then you have to, once you're making a product, it's in the factory, you have to decide, okay, we're going to make it like this, or we're going to make it like that, or how you actually are going to physically once you have a design, how are you going to manufacture it? What's the best way? And those were my first inventions, had nothing to do with anything that anyone bought. My greatest invention ever was a thing that automatically cut S-clips.
What are S-clips?
No one knows what they are. I have no idea what they do. I made millions of them. And when I first started at the company, they were cut by hand. We used to get 3 cents a cut, and we had guys who's 40 hours a week sat there going zip, 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 zip,
Wow.
zip. And then there was a guy next to him scraping the sawdust off of it.
Okay.
And I was living with another Drew grad, roommates, and his grandfather was in the heating lamp business. His grandfather made the lamps that kept food hot on cruise ships.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we were at his grandfather's house in the attic, cleaning out the attic for him, and he had one of his prototype heat lamps. And I said, "Boy, if I heated the plastic when they cut it, it wouldn't make so much sawdust." And so then that grew into, within 6 months, I had built an automatic cutter. Now, we still charged the customer 3 cents a cut, but no longer was there 2 guys sitting there. It was all done automatically. You just take a long strip, feed it into the machine, and boop, boop, boop. The machine spat out your finished products.
That's pretty amazing.
So yeah, I used to complain to my boss all the time that my invention made more than I did. It was true. When I was making 40,000, the invention was making 80,000.
But you're not bitter.
No, you know what? It's the kind of thing where it's more of a pride thing.
Right.
You know, I've made sure that for the next couple of years, every one of the 70 employees at that building knew that was my.
Because I assume that it also opened up opportunities for other people. So instead of doing that very manual process, they could probably learn how to use the machine that you.
Yes, you know,
stuff like that.
unfortunately, what I found is most people are afraid. Most employees do the things the way they're told to do them, and even if they have a better idea, they may just say it to the guy working next to them, but a lot of people are afraid to go to the boss and say, hey, I've got a better way. In my case, my boss always knew better than I did.
Okay.
So he worked 7 to 3, and so if I wanted to try something, all I had to do was hang out after 3 o'clock, because the factory ran 24 hours a day.
Oh, I see.
So I'd go in the evenings and experiment with things, and if it worked, he'd come in the morning.
And he's okay with it, though.
If he was making money, he'd tell me next time before you're going to do something like that, but I never did. And that was really my first innovations, not really inventions, but for many years it was innovating. It was how to make either a part better, faster, cheaper, and then also designing the parts.
Right.
Which was important for what we're going to be discussing, because after I came up with the idea for my magic reflector, I had to figure out how to make it.
Okay.
You know, it's one thing to come up with an idea, but then you have to figure out.
Execution.
Fortunately, I knew exactly how to put together a production line and to actually manufacture my invention, which is a huge help for inventors. Most inventors have an idea, and then they have to go out and find someone who can make it.
So you didn't have that?
No,
issue.
I make all my stuff. Well,
Really?
I either make my stuff or I've taught others, because I don't literally have the time in the day to do all the manufacturing.
Because you're probably thinking of new inventions.
No, I'm usually, honestly, the hardest thing is trying to figure out how to sell your invention.
Oh,
Once you have, you know, one of the things I never thought of, you come up with a brilliant idea, it's like, okay, now how are you going to sell it?
Now, we've talked a little bit about it. Tell us what your invention is. You have many, but what is the one that...
My latest and I think greatest invention is the Velcro reflector, which is something that I came up with originally for dog leashes.
Okay.
I was in Madison Square Park in New York City.
Sure.
They have a dog park there with my dog, and there was a girl there who had a reflective dog leash. But it had just a thin reflective stripe on one side. And I thought that was pretty clever, but I've had lots of dogs my whole life, and I haven't bought a leash in 20 years. You know, I use the same leashes and collars and stuff, you know, for generations. And I really didn't want to go out and buy new reflective. So I started thinking to myself, boy, how could I make any leash reflective? Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I got a roll from the hardware store of various a roll of reflective tape. Then I got some bicycle reflectors. I went to the hardware store and bought every reflective product that was out there and started playing around with them.
And your intention was to specifically do something for
to make
dogs.
a leash reflector.
Okay.
You know, just as, like I said, I figured if this girl bought a leash reflector, people would certainly buy a reflector that you could attach to the leash.
Right.
And at the same time, you know, things happen at the same time, and then all of a sudden it's like brainstorm. Right as I was starting to figure out, okay, how am I going to attach? I had various reflectors, and I was behind a school bus. And I noticed that the school bus was pinstriped with reflective tape. They all are now. If you look at a school bus at night, you'll see reflective pinstriping. And I said, that, I like that. I like that. How do I get that on my dog's leash? And so I called a school bus company that manufactures school buses. And I said, can you send me a roll of the tape? Well, they sold me a roll of the tape.
Wow.
And so I started with clips, with little squeeze things and snap-ons, and everything that I came up with, I had a problem with.
Okay.
You know, one was too brittle, I was worried it would shatter. And one had sharp corners, and I was worried it would poke a dog in the eye.
Okay.
And there was something wrong with every one, or they were very expensive. You know, I came up with a brilliant reflector for $10 a piece.
Wow.
You know,
Okay,
but no one's gonna.
Exactly.
You know, so
You're not gonna pay for the leash and
right.
then the reflector.
You've got to balance. At this point, I had one of my other products requires Velcro.
Okay.
And I had a pile of school bus reflective tape on one end of my desk.
And this is just regular sticky old tape. Right?
Regular, it's comes the stuff that I use. Once I decided this, I went to 3M.
Oh, okay.
And I said to them, "I've got a great idea. I'm going to sell miles and miles and miles of your tape. What can you do for me?" And so I've actually worked out a deal with them where they supply it to me at what they say is the best price that anyone on the planet can get.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so I had a pile of Velcro and a pile of reflective tape, and then it hit me. Boy, wouldn't it be great if something was just Velcro so you could put it on a leash, take it off a leash, you buy a new leash or whatever. And the first prototype was an hour later. I mean, it was that quick. Once after maybe a month of trying to figure out how to get the reflective tape onto a leash without just
actually putting it on, like,
because you know that's going to come unwrapped and
Exactly.
get gummy, and
right.
within an hour I had the first working prototype.
Wow.
It was that. It was.
It just came to you just like that.
And I, like I said, it was nothing. It was. I just had I had the two ingredients in front of me, and said, and I was astonished with the result.
Wow. So we have a minute left in this segment. So can you show us the actual?
This is the reflector. As you can see, it's the same yellow tape used on school buses.
Okay.
And on the inside, as you can hear, it is Velcro. And you can take it on virtually any strap. Let's just pretend for a second this is a dog leash. And you just put it on.
And that's it.
That's it.
There's no cutting. There's no stickiness.
You can do
it's
it because it's Velcro. You can do it, take it on, take it off. You can do it 10,000 times. They're flexible. There's no sharp edges. They can't shatter. They can't crack. It's not going to break. They work because it's made for school buses. They can get wet. They can, underwater. People use them on life vests. You can underwater. They're resistant to virtually anything. And if they do get dirty, they're so slick, they just wipe clean.
Just wipe them off.
Actually, when my dogs get dirty, because one of the things I'd thought of originally was the reflective fabrics.
Oh, sure.
Reflective fabrics you have to wash.
And then that'll eventually, I assume, some of that
it wears
property
off. It
will
loses
wear
its sheen. What this, like this, you just
wipe it off, and you're good to go.
slides right off.
Well, we're going to come back in about 2 minutes, and then I want you to show us some other ways in which we can use your product and also some of your other inventions. So this is Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public educational and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Welcome back to this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I'm here today with Gary Castelle. And before the break, you were telling us a little bit about your reflectors and their uses. So now we have a few items in front of you, and maybe you could walk us through as to how they could be used.
Well, originally they were designed to be on a dog's leash, but the next person to see them said, "Ooh, trick or treat."
Okay.
For kids. The next person said, "Oh, you can put it on a baseball hat."
Yeah, I have to personally say these two are my
Or
favorite because I
visor.
run and at night.
Everyone comes up with a different use. I have people email me with pictures and notes.
Oh, that's cool.
One woman bought 20 of them. She was having a wedding in her backyard. She put a reflector on every rope at the tent because she didn't want people walking into the rope.
Exactly. What a great
Another
idea.
guy told me he goes fishing at night. His life preserver doesn't have reflectors. people just keep thinking of new ways where to stick them. I'm not a runner, so I don't know. Apparently, there's some kind of armbands.
Yes, for your
people
for
use
your
them on their
iPhones or
armbands.
iPad. Yes.
People see it and they come up with a way to use it.
And you actually have another way that runners and just other people.
To me, I think this is the most important, because when a child or anyone, a runner, is wearing an earbud, they can't hear traffic.
Exactly.
And they're ultra lightweight. It's hard to show on TV, but 100 of these weigh a pound.
Oh, wow.
So it weighs less than a coin in your pocket. They're literally, you'll never notice it's attached.
And they can be removed easily as well, as you showed us in the last
Many
segment.
times you can take it, you don't want it on your earbud, you want to put an extra one on your dog leash. Boom.
So it's versatile.
You just put it wherever you want. They are all actually available in 2 shapes. I have a larger, actually, better I show you here. There's
Okay.
a larger rectangle for thicker straps.
Okay, let me just make sure that they can see
I'm
it
not-
right
yeah.
here. So it's bigger than the
Right.
the circles. Okay.
But for certain things, like the back of a hat, the smaller circle is adequate.
And what I like about it is that they are nice and rounded. Even the square one has rounded edges, so it's not poking you or
Makes it a
sticking
lot
you.
more expensive for me. Because, yes, exactly, because I was worried about someone poking themselves, the dog in the eye or whatever.
Right.
Yes, all the rectangles have rounded corners. There are no sharp points on anything, because the material, even though it's thin and flexible, it's pokey.
Right. So what's your website? Just I don't want to forget that.
No problem. It's personalreflectors.com.
And that's
There's a hyphen
plural.
between personal and reflectors, but
Okay.
even if you forget the hyphen, I have all the website names.
It'll just
I have
redirect.
child reflectors, personal reflectors, walking reflectors. What I did is when I realized what a versatile item it was, I went out and I bought every domain name that was available.
That was even
Because I wasn't
remotely
sure.
close.
Well, because I wasn't sure. This was in the early. Once you have an invention, then you have to figure out what you're going to do with it.
Right.
And I wasn't sure how was I going to sell it as a leash reflector, a child reflector, a runner reflector. So I just went out and grabbed every website name. Getting a domain name's easy and fairly inexpensive.
Right.
So I just went out and I bought, I think it was like 15 or 20 domain names.
Okay.
So that whichever way I felt like going, I had it covered.
Right. One other thing that we should mention is
Very important.
this little thing right here, which is a baby stroller. Yeah, great. We got this shot.
Once again, not being a parent of human children,
Okay.
I've never dealt with a stroller, so I was actually pretty shocked to find out that virtually none of them have reflectors built into it. To me,
Okay.
that just seems... And for this, it's that simple. You have a reflector.
Wow. And as you can see right here, it's...
Oh, you want me to attach...
I can show how easy it is by attaching. Yeah, see? So now you have a nice reflector here, and it just comes on and off. So you can...
Just like that.
So if your child is, if you're taking your child for a stroll, that's fine. But then now your child is, you take it off, and now your child is going trick-or-treating, put it on
If
there.
you can-
Or they're going to school, and you put it,
season
put it on
to
there.
season.
I like that.
Fortunately, they're inexpensive enough so that you don't have to buy just one.
Right.
But if you want to, and you could certainly, buy a couple and use them for the whole family on everything. To me, that's important. Is everything has to be cost effective. If it, like I said, if you make a leash reflector that costs more than the leash, no one's going to buy it.
And that's what I liked about this leash idea, is that you were saying that when you initially saw someone with a leash, it was a long, thin, reflector. One, like you said, you actually keep your leashes for years, so this is a way for you to, for me, from what I'm thinking, is you don't have to throw away a perfectly good leash. You just add
Exactly. This is
to it.
the accessory.
Exactly.
You don't have to buy a new stroller. You don't have to buy a new backpack. You don't have
Or a
to
new
buy a new
bag.
dog leash. You don't have, whatever you have, if it's used outdoors, you can just put a reflector on it.
And you said it's weatherproof too, so
Totally
if you're-
weatherproof. I won't say completely indestructible, but pretty close.
Okay.
You've got to go out of your way.
Try and destroy it.
to-
Well, there were some other things that you brought today to show us that
Sure.
you have invented.
Well, my first item, successful invention was the sill shield.
Okay.
It's basically, they come in white or clear,
Okay.
and they are for dogs that bark out the window. And
Okay.
their nails scratch up the windowsill. So what you do is, with these little magic Velcro coins, you take a coin, you stick it on the windowsill protector, you mate up the coin, you put it on your windowsill, and now you have a windowsill that's protected. But let's say you leave the window open and rain gets into there, because they're Velcro, you can pop it off the sill,
Oh, okay. So it won't be destroyed or anything.
pop it off the sill, wipe it, whatever, if it gets
Got
moisture
it.
or dust or whatever, and then just put it right back in place.
And those come in the white and
Come in
clear.
white and clear in a variety of standard sizes. I also do custom work. People who have cranks, they need
Oh, sure.
a hole cut out. I do all kinds of windowsill stuff. I also do strips. People, just this morning, the dog not only scratches the sill, but he also scratches the bottom of the window. So instead of using it on the windowsill like this, you take it, you turn it like that, and you can put it on the bottom of the window.
Oh, I see. So now they can't
Right.
scratch
I
either
can
on the
do-
sill or on the bottom
That
of the window.
led to me doing custom door shields.
Oh, at the bottom?
People
Where the-
said, "Oh, my dog also scratches the door," so I do. I get plexiglass, and I do custom door shields for people.
Wow.
And that's when I realized, okay, I'm in the dog product business.
And then that's
Because my first two big successful, and they sell and they're selling today, were dog products. So that's when the
Started
lease
to
reflectors.
reflect.
It seemed like the natural, same customers.
Oh, I see.
You know,
So you could
Sure,
it's
come
a
buy a
natural-
windowsill protector and throw in a pack of reflectors for your leash. It just seemed to me I'm advertising in the same place. Because that's actually, for me, it's not making the product, it's selling the product. That's the difficulty. I don't have any sales experience, marketing experience, things like that.
You said in the earlier segment that you actually just called up 3M and, because you wanted so you don't find that to be the same type of skill as far as?
No, because then you're a purchaser.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I picked the name Magnum Plastics was because it sounds like a real company. If I called it Gary and his dog on the couch plastics, I don't know what they would say. But when I pick up the phone and say, "Hi, this is Gary Castelle, president of Magnum Plastics. May I speak to the head of conspicuousy at 3M? Oh, Gary Castelle from president of Magnum Plastics. They'll put me on the phone with somebody.
Oh, interesting.
You have to
Right.
sound like you're somebody worthwhile.
Right. No, I understand.
So yeah, that's how I came up with the name Magnum Plastics, and that's for me to call 3M. Yeah, I'm buying from you.
Oh, okay. I see. So it's a little different from selling.
Buying I'm good at. Selling I'm not so good at.
So I don't want us to run out of time
Right.
before you show us your dog, when your dog wants to come in from being outside. Can you show us that one?
Yes, that's a dog doorbell. It attaches the same way that the door shields and the windowsill protectors attach, with little Velcro things.
Okay.
You simply put it on your door.
Okay. So this would be on the door.
This is on the back of the door.
And this is outside.
Right, outside, inside. Some people use items like this to let the dog in. That's how I use it, when he
Okay.
wants to come in. But other people, especially if they're housebreaking a dog and they want to know when the dog needs to go out to go to the
Oh, they have
bathroom,
the other
they'll
way.
put it on the inside. But all your dog has to do is hit it. It has a chime unit that you can plug in anywhere in the house. So if you're down in the basement, you can have a chime down there.
Right.
And when your dog wants to come in or out. Now there is like anything else, like giving paw, you have to sit there with your dog and take his hand, take his paw, touch it, give him a treat. It takes
gotta
a
teach
day or
them,
two,
right?
before they understand the relationship. The Pavlov's dog thing, they'll ring the bell to get the
Exactly.
treat.
I love it. That's great. We have about 1 minute left. Is there anything else that you want us to? I don't know if that was the.
Well, I also, this is just another product that I have in development. It's the same idea as the windowsill protector, but this is for a deck railing.
Oh, okay.
And now I, once again, use it because my dog scratches up my deck.
Okay.
But even for people who are worried about splinters or just maintaining water, if you have a deck, water puddles up and it stains and
Yeah.
it splinters it. So you just take something like this, no tools required. one of the themes with all my products.
No tools. I love that.
This one just doesn't use Velcro. This one literally just snaps on.
It snaps on.
And just snaps on and protects your deck. But yeah, one of the things for me is everything has to be very affordable
Okay.
and simple to use. No tools required is a huge selling point. A lot of my customers, and I'm probably going to get letters for this, a lot of my customers are women and they don't want to use tools.
Oh, I have to say I'm not in that group. I love tools,
But I have gotten a lot of feedback on that. Oh, how easy it is to install. Okay. And I assume that is code for thank you that I don't have to get out a screwdriver and a drill and a whatever.
Okay, well, Gary, tell us again what the name of your website is.
The website is for the reflectors is personalreflectors.com.
Okay.
I also have another website for the windowsill protectors. They are called Sill Shields, and they are sold at sillshield.com.
Great. Gary, thank you so much for being on. These inventions are
Thank you for
lovely.
having me.
And maybe you could come back and let us know what you're doing with your next inventions at another time.
Anytime. Be my pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us this time. I'm Dustin, and we will see you next time on Dustin's Kaleidoscope.